Hey, welcome back everyone. So in this one, I want to show you just a kind of a work in progress or a study of a 3-point perspective. I guess not a study because I'm drawing this just from my imagination, and you'll see I kind of pay the price here for that because there's just a few things that I get wrong, but so there's times I like to work from no reference, and times I don't like. Buildings, I think pretty much most of the time reference is a way to go, but I just have fun trying to figure it out, and I don't know, it's weird because all I'm doing is testing my bad memory, and I know I have a horrible memory, so it's like, but I have more fun with this. It keeps me more excited. So yeah, some of it comes out okay, some of it not so much, but I do think it's kind of fun to challenge yourself to just inventively throw in things that either you've drawn before or you've seen before, and just kind of play around with it. But again, you'll see me pay the price. Like one aspect here, I totally got the chimney off perspective, but that was really just, I don't know, like zoning out. How I didn't see that until later, I don't know. But so a couple tips here for you. So when working off a perspective grid like this, I find that there's times that you want the perspective grid to be more dense and times you don't. So what I tend to find is if I make it dense everywhere, which I really should have tightened it up more than this, by the way. I think I suffered a little bit on misalignment of a few things and scale of a few things. Maybe not scale, but definitely misalignment because I didn't dense up the perspective grid. You know, keep in mind these 3 vanishing points, although you can't see them, are right outside of the panel border or frame of the scene here. Not by much, but enough to where if you were to draw a triangle around it, it almost wouldn't touch the edges of the panel. The more you bring that triangular kind of effect into the panel, the more it will distort. So just make sure those vanishing points are on the outside of that frame, that rectangular frame. But that being said, like they're obviously off the page, and I found myself having to check them more because I didn't tighten up the grid as much as I probably should have. The other thing that I really found myself struggling with on this one was scale. So, and I guess that could be related to not studying enough good examples of perspective. Okay, so again, back to the referencing, pull lots of reference, study from artists that are better at this than you are. For me, it's like watching David Finch's channel. Like that's even where I started picking up this technique. I honestly never did it this way until I watched him do it. I've always been a little bit more accustomed to drawing out, pulling a line from every vanishing point for each item that I need. Well, I also have to give credit to, I think it's Line Circle Art Studio or Circle Line Art. I'm sorry, I'm messing that up. Amazing videos where he draws everything just freehand from the initial vanishing points. So there's lots of different people to pay attention to, obviously, out there. These are just a couple of the people that I admire that do it really well for obvious reasons. And then, but again, pull reference, look at people that do it well, take little bits and pieces from their workflow, put it all together. So back to the scale thing, I found myself struggling to get scale right as it recedes down to the ground plane, okay? Which in case, keep in mind the horizon line is above us at this point. We're looking down at everything. But the ground plane, when I say that, is just look where the vehicles are, the buildings attached to the bottom. If you notice at first, I was drawing the buildings closer to us, to the viewer, off the page, right? Well, the only bad thing is, as I started to move back into the scene, I started to draw the ground plane. Well, those two got to meet at some point, right? And I basically made it look like they don't meet at all, or that maybe the ground plane changes for the buildings up close. Which you can do, but it's got to have a hill or a drop off of some kind, and that obviously didn't occur here. So basically I had to correct that, and you'll see that in a bit. The only thing I could say there is that you can get better at mapping space in a downward trajectory by dividing up your segments and finding center and mapping downward. I've showed other videos on that. It's a lot of work. I really didn't do that here. I paid the price for it, but I do, again, back to what I said in the very beginning of the video, I really do like figuring it out as I go. I find it intriguing. I find it more interesting. It keeps me involved. I spent an hour and a half on this piece, and I think I only stopped, I stopped in like 20-minute intervals for some reason, but I only took a break one time, came back to it and knocked it out, which isn't amazing. I mean, it's an hour and a half. It's not like it was a full day's work, but at the same time, I think it's important to pay attention to stuff like that It's for, for productivity, to know where is your your barrier, and what are your limits, so that you know what you can produce for clients and things like that. Is it going to take you a couple days to make a piece? Is it going to take you a week? Some people, it probably takes a month, but they probably put massive amounts of effort and detail into it. I like to wrap things up in smaller chunks. I was trying to combine a couple words there. But, so that's just me. But personally, this isn't like it would be some full piece. It's just a panel. So I honestly didn't feel that great about an hour and a half on this. Now, that being said, I am a bit out of practice with traditional. I mean to be doing more of this, and that's why I wanted to share it on the channel. I've been telling you that. I've been meaning to get more traditional art videos your way. And I hope that even though this is a time lapse, it gives you some ideas of how you can, be more productive and try these techniques, and just really see the workflow of how I add and take away and maneuver. And I really think that's the biggest part. Like for me, when I watch a professional comic artist, some big wig like Todd McFarlane or Jim, whoever, and I watch them mess up, or I don't even know if you call it messing up, but maybe in their mind, like when they just change something, when they maneuver, that to me, that's where the gold is. Like, we all could learn a little bit from just watching somebody perform excellence. But at the same time, I want to see where they mess up, where they erase, where they change shapes, where they recalculate and reapproach a certain subject matter. To me, that's where the gold is. But, whatever. I mean, I know a lot of times you want more real-time content, and I'll try to bring you more of that. Honestly, I tend to time-lapse more when I'm a little less confident at the subject matter. I do a lot of perspective drawing, but I haven't been doing as much traditionally. So I need to really beef up my skills there, my confidence levels, and then I'll bring more real-time stuff to you. And do keep in mind, I have a full course. It is drawn digitally, but I teach 1, 2, and 3-point perspective on my course if you want it. I'm just going to throw that out there. There'll be a link in the description box below. So the other thing that I wanted to point out here that I think was kind of important to play around with is, once you get in a nice bulk of the detail that's closer to camera, where you can really explore lots of the textures and different details, really try to simplify as you move back. So one of the first simplifications that I did here that I think is just really helpful in comics is silhouetting one side of the building, letting the windows be the positive shape, so the negative, positive, whatever. And that's about it. And then as you move back away from the camera, a couple things really. One is obviously simplify a lot. I mean, you see those people are just little blobs down there, and the shapes as I get back, I just make them more and more simplified. But also take advantage of signs and things that change the that overly like rectangular alignment of, say you just had, there's realistically only about 3 buildings here. There's kind of a fourth in the very back, but that's about it. Well, and I guess one of the side where that bar sign is. To make that more interesting, play around with all sorts of like things that come away from the building. They can be different building trims. They can be signs. They can be, you could have like a clothes hanger. That's what I should have did. I should have added a clothes hanger across the buildings and clothes just blowing in the wind on those. That would add a really neat dynamic. So again, think of things like that, because really what it does, it breaks it up. It makes it easier to draw, in my opinion, and it adds a lot of character and dynamic vibe to the work. So I hope you've enjoyed today's video. I'd love to know what you think, and more on the way very soon. As always, keep drawing, keep having fun, and bye for now.